ready to start removing the last roof of the job then. This is the last one we have to do to get ourselves watertight. And if you watched last week's episode, you will know that this is the part garage, part old utility at the moment. And the new utility will come from here instead, which is sort of a third of the way in to the end. And it's going to be a flat roof going this way from where I'm standing to over there. So the guttering is going to be over there. And this is going to be fiberglass again. So let's get on with it. So you would have seen on the time lapse that we have now removed the felt, thank God for that. Normally it's quite a pain. If it's got sort of the old fashioned sarking boards on, they used to pour the wet bitumen on top from what I remember anyway. Wet bitumen on top, put the felt on top of that, and then it was all stuck to the timber and everything. But this was really simple to get off. So as you can see, it's just normal ply underneath. A few things I wanted to show you before we start moving this roof. This was a habitable space before, it was the utility. Now, there was no thought at all into the fact that it's going to be cold. This is a cold roof, but there's no insulation. That's where we took the plasterboard off. It was up to there, no insulation at all. That's just the fascia was there, that's it. There's no insulation in the cavity. So I don't quite know what that token gesture was for. I don't know. See on the screen now that when we've took all the gutter and stuff off, the amount of vines that have penetrated through all the gutter and through all the felt is ridiculous. One reason why you don't want, especially up to gutter level, the creepers up the side of your house. One massive reason. And for all the people out there that like to pay attention and comment, you will also see, if you can spot it, what's the mistake there? That there is a wall plate. That there is a wall plate strap. All good so far, albeit maybe could have done with another one over there. But look where the roof is. It's not sat on the wall plate at all. It's sat, if I can show you, it's sat on the outside brickwork. How ridiculous is that? So I don't quite know for the life of me who's done this, but clearly no thought. Must have been, I'm not even going to say DIYer, because that'd be insulting to DIY people. This has been done by someone that, I don't know, who knows. Anyway, I'd like to think we're going to put it back in better than that. We'll try anyway. So let's go back on the roof now, finish off, start taking all these boards off and start putting some new structure in.
I was quietly protective of my heart to reassure that I couldn't break to pieces and be left alone once more. If you hadn't been so patient, you'd be easy to ignore. You put up with all my bullshit till you didn't anymore. And now I stand here calling at your door. Oh, now I stand here calling at your door. Yeah, I'm yours, anywhere you want. Yeah, I'm yours, and now we're singing.
So there we are, all finished, all cleaned up, timber gone, de-nailed, so there's no mess under our feet. Matt's just got the 6x2 in now, ready for the ledger plate that's going to be fixed on this wall that's going roughly about there. So you'll see about, we're going to go 10 mil lower than that link, like Matt, I think, to allow us to dab, to screw and then dab through.
Mechanical and a dab.
That's what we'll do, we'll just come 10 mil below that, which then means that we have got adequate headroom from here, 2.4, which is what it was the same, so happy with that, am I?
Yeah.
We've just cleaned off, if I just show you now, we've just cleaned off the top of this wall. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a 5x2, give that a good brush off, fix a 5x2 onto there, but come in 18mm to allow me to then clad the ladder frame that's going to go on top of the 5x2, clad it with 18mm to give it some structure. And then once we've got a ledger plate on to get our height of our ladder frame, we'll level across, jiffy hangered at this side, sit on top of the ladder frame this side with my uprights in line with my flat roof rafters to allow to keep the structure in place. So that's what we're going to do, isn't it?
It is.
Should
It
we
is. Bask in the sun.
Should we do it then, or shorts on? Day one, shorts on. What's the date today? 7th.
Yeah.
Star Wars Day on
6th.
Saturday.
6th.
6th of May. First day shorts. Normally we've gone April, beginning of April, but
Easier,
it's been too wet and too cold. So what you've just seen is we have been checking our levels. We've put ledger plate on the wall. For now, it's been fixed just with some concrete fixings for now. I haven't got any through bolts, so I'm fetching them tonight and I'll put them in tomorrow and I'll show you that. We've then fixed the 5x2 on top of here. As you can see, we've sat it on some foam just to take up any undulations that we may have. And I've fixed this down every other brick. That wall is absolutely solid and the walls are solid, so I'm happy with that. However, what I'm going to do anyway is going to be building off the internal skin, even if we just put a leg down where the uprights are, just to stop it. But that can't come off because the force is downwards and it's fixed every other brick, so I'm confident with that. The reason we've used 5x2 is because what I've done is I've stepped in 18mm just there, just to allow when we put the plywood on, at least it's still flush. So when we do clad it on that side, it doesn't go 18mm further past the brickwork. It's only the width of the cladding that it's past the external brickwork to keep it looking nice and tidy. So that's done. What we then did was, what you've actually just seen is we made up this bit of a prop. We put it that in, screwed it together and clamped it. I screwed it in there, put the level on. Unbelievably, it's level. It was level there. We tried it there, tried it here, and it's level, unbelievably. After looking at what I'd gone on before with this, I'm very surprised that that outside wall is level, but it clearly is. I don't think it was a millimetre. I really don't. It was good, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah, it's very good. Nice.
Which means we can now pattern cut all the uprights from the ladder frame and just make a ladder frame up nice and quick. We've got some 4x2 out there. We'll pattern cut all the uprights and we'll drop the ladder frame straight onto that. All looking a bit dark in here now. We put some temporary boards and some sheet on because British weather, you really don't know, do you? And what we don't want is anything to go on anything of the customers there, because that's staying. And we don't want the water to come in off our roof number 1, should we call it, onto the floor either. So we put some old ply back on, bits of OSB we'd already got that was got stored in here, loads of plastic on, so that'll keep us dry. You can see now, and saw from the time lapse, that all the ladder frame is on. These just need centering now on there, but they are literally going to be to the right hand side of every upright is where these are going to be, because what I've done is I've come in 50mm up there to allow them to get a joist angle at both sides on there, so that's why I've done that. Hence we've gone 50mm that way as well, so we should be within 5mm, 10mm of each upright. What we'll do tomorrow is we will get these set. I'll put a row of noggins through here, and then we will make sure this ladder frame is upright, and then nail it straight through into that. We're going to coach bolt these down to there, down to that timber on the wall. And like I've already said, when we put structure on top of this wall here, we'll link it to this one and tie it in nice and tidy. But we'll probably end up getting some 25mm Kingspan or something across that. But anyway, that's future. That's when we actually start refurbing this room, should we say, and bringing it back to a usable space again. We want to get it watertight first, don't we? Yes, we do. Yes. So that's tomorrow's plan. Please stay dry tomorrow, we're hoping, and OSB this, and hopefully before the end of this episode you will see us fiberglassing this, all being well. Excellent. Well, we stayed all nice and dry, and the sunshine is back out again. We are here another day, poised, aren't we? We're poised, ready to rock. Anyway, so we're going to get on today with getting the joists, flat roof, rafters, bits of wood on top of a roof, whatever you want to call them, from this end, get them set to centre or to where they need to be, get a row of noggins down here, allowing our 50mm air gap. So we'll probably use 4x2 because this is 6x2. That would make sense. I'm then going to cut the diminishing batten starting from this end, going down to there, but I'm doing something a little bit different with that. So stay tuned and I'll show you what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then we are going to pick up the OSB boards, aren't we?
We are.
And get them on this roof. So I just thought I'd stop the time-lapse fest and catch you up on where we are. So as you can see there, Michael is now putting the noggins in. He went outside, we got the chop saw set up, got his lengths that he needed, and then he did a bit of pattern cutting on those, so he's going to continue to do that. Then, as you can see now, me and Matt are cutting all the diminishing battens, just ready to put onto this roof. And then we've also seen that all of these rafters cut off in the time lapse that you would have seen. They're all cut off, ready to go. What we've done is we've allowed 50mm overhang there, just so when we put the plywood on, then the 10mm plank soffit, and then it'll just about catch the hockey stick of the fascia. And then, because there's no fascia this side, we'll then tidy that up down there, make it all looking nice down there before we finish off all that side there. What Matt's doing now is just fixing these, carry on Matt, we're just fixing these down diminishing battens onto there now. Our first one there is 75mm, that one. We're going to, because this is a bit closer, we can't do our normal pattern cutting, so we're going to do that. And then we'll work our way across. We've got them all cut, all ready to go, all labelled, and then we'll cut the last one. We have had to cut some, but we've got left out of timber. We've had to cut two together, and then we'll just cut them to length and then go from there. That's all done. So once this is all finished, I'll go and fetch more of the OSB 3 and get it finished. Following last week's video, we had a comment from Thomas Brown just to say you were missing a couple of joist hangers. Did you put them on? So this is for you, mate. There they are, all done, all finished. Michael's about to pass up the boards I've been to fetch to complete this roof. All the fern strips are on. This end is now, what was this, 80 something, this end? Oh, bit of a nail there sticking up. This end is 80 and then it diminishes 75, 70, blah, blah, all the way to the end. Last one was 21mm. Now the reason I've done that, it's 60mm is what I require from here to that end, but I've done this 80 and that 20 that end. I'll explain why after, but I need an air gap this end. And if I did it to nothing, I'll be flat on the ledger plate. at that end, and that's what I don't want. It's all to do with ventilation of a cold roof. I'll explain that later on. So let's just get on with putting this roof on. You would have noticed that we stopped the time lapse. I'll explain why in a minute. Anyway, you would have seen Matt go through first, and on the screen now he's just following across the top of the jiffy hangers to finish them off on the top of the ledger plate before we put this first board on. We've then left 30mm away from the wall, and that is, as we did on the last roof we did, the last cold roof, that's for ventilation. We're going to do the same again. We're going to put timbers vertically up there, like that, plywood it through again, and then put our trim through. So that's the plan. Right then, the reason we stopped. Now, I'm not going to name the company because they were very apologetic when I phoned them. I've just been and fetched 10 boards, and I knew we could use these ones, and they've gone on fine, they've gone in perfect, lovely joint, you know, no problem at all gone together perfect. So that I put those on the end just in case. But anyway, I got 10 just to get me to this point, and there were 2 different types in there. You will see that that one has got a certain writing, same as that one, but these others, another 7, are completely different. So we got one row down and then realised that the tongue and the groove were opposite. Well, you presume when you go to a manufacturer or you go to a place of to get this kind of stuff from, that when you get 10 off a pallet, you're going to get the same ones. We didn't. So that was really, really annoying. We've had to put a bit of a cut there, which is what all the glue's for. We've had to put a cut on a rafter instead, glue it and then butt it together. That's why all the foam's pulled out, to try and get this row back in, because we'd already put this board down. Called down to Mick, who was down there doing the cutting, and said, right, I'll have a tongue on this length. He passed it up and I flipped it over, and it wasn't right, because what you've got is on these, you've got a square, I can't really see it there. You can't see it very well, but you've got a square on the tongue and then a chamfered bit on the tongue at the bottom. So they all have to go the same way, because if you do it opposite, it won't fit. Or what you'll find is your boards won't go together like that. You'll have like a 1/8 inch gap or whatever, couple of mil gap. So that was really annoying, but like I say, I'm not going to name where we got them from. I have found them and said they need to sort it out for anyone else's difficulties. But they were very apologetic and very nice on the phone, so I'm not going to name them because it's not fair. Right, so there we have it. Matthew, you can see, is tidying off up there. Adam is just there. He's just been looking at his. He's just there. He's just there. He's just there. He's just been looking at his trims to make sure his trims work. We've been talking about putting the. I'm going to call them penny vents, but they're not a penny vent because they're about 70mm diameter. So that's all on now. That's all nice and clad. We're going to do all the work inside there now. Will be done at a later stage. We're not bothered about that. All we've got to do this end now, coming out the quite bright sun, is put our little edge trim on between the fascias there, and that's it. That's overhanging a little tiny bit because we're going to cut it off once we do the return. And there we have it. We're going to start now plywooding this end in. So we're going to build this out and plywood all that, ready to run this cladding around the corner. And we'll put a nice corner trim on there then, and obviously a corner trim where the fascia is. So moving straight on to our next job. What we're doing now is the end where you can see Matt over there, we're running the fascia across that end, as demonstrated. So because we had to finish this row off, because it's over 5 metres, we bought a 200mm because we needed a 180 that end. But we only need a 170 or a 165 that end, so we're just going to cut this down now to suit all the way across there and pin that on ready. And then I'm going to start structuring this in to run the plywood down to this roof. Right, well, sorry I haven't showed any of that. It's a bit late in the day now, and as you can see, Matt, we're just getting ready now to cover this roof again. I've done the fascia on the front, I'll show you in a minute. I've done the structuring here, I've just dropped some 6x2 vertically, packed them off the last rafter in there. That is only to carry plywood, no structure involved in that at all, just to carry ply. Doubled that one up to catch the end of a board this way. I'll show you that in a minute. You've already seen down there, all on, ready to go, and I'll show you what the lads have been up to this end. Oh, if I can turn around, that's a bit of a step now, isn't it, that one? So, face is on already. What we've got to do now is tomorrow is put a double lath on there to start accepting the trims for the, tell me what we're doing, Michael?
GRP.
GRP. So that's it, that's ready to go. So we show you that in the morning. Should we talk about it in the morning now?
I think so.
Done it, we. Let's put plastic on.
I think we do. Blooming Thursday.
Oh, that's a good
Bloomer.
one. Sandwich Thursday. We now have Bloomer, so we're calling it Blooming Thursday. That's a good one, Matthew. We'll keep that one. I'll say it's my idea though. Prep work has begun then to get ourselves ready for fiberglass. We put plywood on there first thing. We have put a 25mm lath on there to form our drip there, so the drip trim comes over the top. And then we will clad this after. We can just push it up underneath and fix away. But we need to put our trim first on this roof onto there to seal that joint there. Hence we haven't done the trim first. You can see we started setting out our fiberglass trims against our ventilation to get ready for pinning these on, gluing and pinning. And I will get Adam to talk you through in a minute any differences to this one compared to the last one we did, which is also a cold roof. What I will do now is, I did say I'd show you later why I did the diminishing battens the way I did, and it's now later, so I'll show you that now. So you can see daylight up that corner there, all the way through. And as you can see there, if you can see it on the camera, there is a gap above the ledger plate and the bottom of the deck. And that is why I did a 20mm diminishing this end rather than to 0, which is what you would normally do. Because if I did, that would all be now sitting on the ledger plate and we'd have no air gap. So that's why I did that. What's that you got, Ad? What's that you got?
I'll tell you.
Should we just show them later?
Yeah, man.
Okay, there we go then. Look forward to that because it's exciting. It excited us, didn't it, Ad? Small things and small minds and all that.
Still does, mate. It still excites.
Right then, here we are. We are setting out for all the trims and putting them all on. Now, the more time we spend on this, the easier the actual fiberglassing process becomes, as with anything, isn't it? The more prep you do, the easier it is. So what we've done, what you always do, put your trims on, and where they finish, you mark a line, said line, and then you put a bead of adhesive just inside of that line. And then what we're supposed to do then is when you lath on here, which I'll go through over there a bit more detail, is you glue on top of that as well. We're not going to do that in this case. We're going to do that afterwards because of, I'll tell you later. So Matt can carry on. So Matt, if you go for that. Then all we're doing, up and over the glue, nice and easy, and just press it down. You're not trying to glue it down, it's not trying to fix it down, you're just trying to stick this very edge down so it's not so wavy. That's all you're trying to do, and get it nice and flat rather than actually glue it down and for it to be there forever. The fiberglass will do that, the nails will do that as well, as Matt is just about to do. So as soon as you're doing that, then you nail it, and you nail it. I mean, I've done it every 100mm before now, just really gone for it. These are 25mm ring shank angler nails. And that's basically it for this particular one. This is a curb trim. We'll go through what exactly that is and why you use it where you do in a second. We've just got to get this bit on. I'll just show you this detail here. We've already cut round that to go around. It's in the shade a bit, and if you can see, cut round that to go around there. And then we've already cut this one to go over it, like so. When that's on, again, that just makes the fiberglass sneeze. There's less to make up there now. There's still some to do, but there's less to. So you're just making that, especially on a nice day like this, the resin's going to go off really quick. So, as I say, it's all in the prep. And then you put the trims on as you would as if you're leading it. So the water flow is that way. So you'd work from the front, back and overlap exactly as you would do if you were leading it. So right then, we'll crack on. We'll get this one down, and then we'll talk about the other two types of trim we've got, which is the wall fillet and the drip edge over there. Right then, stage one of setting out your trims when you go into fiberglasses. You build the roof, you put the fascias on, everything, all that's been explained. You do that as per, don't let it stop you. You then go round, and where you've got a curb trim, you put a piece of lath that is 2B1 25mm by 50, flush with the top of the roof, all the way around, wherever you're going to have a curb trim. Wall fillet, doesn't need any, and you put a double lath, which I'll show you in a second, where you're having the drip trim. So we've got three types of trim here, arguably the three most common type. The wall fillet is where the roof meets a wall, self-explanatory. The curb fillet, the curb trim I should say, creates a bit of a barrier, so then when the water's on the roof it doesn't flow over this way or flow over that way. It keeps it all on the roof and moves it in a direction wherever it is you want it to go. And then you've got the drip trim modelled there that goes over the roof into the gutter like so. And if I can just show that's the lath, please. Where you've got the drip trim, you put your first lath flush with the top with less layers a little bit down, reason we're going for in a second, and then your second one, you've got a double lath it, your second one goes 10mm down. That's to incorporate the shape of the actual trim. So that's the top, so it bends round down on itself. If you put these two battens flush of each other, you'll end up, if I can sort of demonstrate it, pushing that out like that, and you'll compromise the actual ability of it to drip. It could come round on that. But as you can see, it's angled back, that is, and you just want to maintain that. You don't want to manipulate the shape of these trims, any trims. You just got to put them down as they are and get them as flat as possible. So that is hopefully a better view from where that is, like so. And then you put your guttering on before you put the trim on. That's very important. Yeah. It's a bit of a design fault with this. It makes it very, very tricky. But once that's on, I'll show you. So that's all you do. Again, the reason why you put one trim on for the curb is just to take out. In fact, I'll show you in a second. Right then, stage two, actually fixing the trims on. We've already mited it, so we are good to go. We've done our line, as we said, just putting some adhesive just inside that, and we're also going to put a line of adhesive onto the face of the lath as well. The reason for that is because, as I said earlier, we haven't put any glue on this one. I'll explain why now. No glue, look, look how flappy that is. Right, now if you don't put any glue on, the wind's just going to get under that, as you can imagine, and you know, potentially keep you up all night, be really annoying, cause damage, crack some whatever. So you always try and glue that on. Don't pin it, because you don't actually fiberglass these. They're already fiberglass. So make sure you're wearing a mask and everything when you're cutting them, all that sort of stuff. You just top coat these. You only fiberglass over the join, and maybe you'll bring the roof covering over here somewhere, but you don't come over with it. It'll start looking a mess. These are pre-formed, just top coat them. So you want to get that out, which is why you put the adhesive on. Now the reason why we haven't done that here is because we're unsure yet whether the customer wants this re-roofing. If they do, it's going to be fiberglassed, and what we want to do is fiberglass. That'll have to be OSB to do it, but I'll just overclad it. The fiberglass will come up here. We want to fiberglass up here as an upstand, and then do our cladding over that as a covering. And to do that, we haven't glued that, so we can actually get the cladding underneath it. Either we post it through that way, or we can just scoop it under there like so, and then we'll get some adhesive under it, or we'll figure out a way of fixing it all down. So that's why we've left that bit. But on this side, we're good to go. It's had adhesive, it's going to get nailed, no nails, because remember that's finished. That's all mited. Once it's in place, any raised edges like this, you can just get the grinder back out. You can just sand them and just grind it back, get it as flush as possible, as tight as possible, like so. And then we'll go into the detail of how to make that look superb a little bit later on. Now we're sort of doing this, once again, a little bit backwards, because you really want to do this as if you're leading it. So direction of water's going that way, so really you want to put the first trim on and then overlap it with this one, so the water can't go any joins going down here. I mean, it's going to get fiberglassed over it anyway. It doesn't really matter in this respect. It's just something that we like to do. But to do that, we need the guttering on. We've got to move the scaffold for that, so that's taking a bit of time. But to counteract that, Matt hasn't glued and won't nail the last 300mm of that. So then that one can be slid in underneath it, and it will be complete, which is what he's done here, look. So that's nice and flappy to get under, whilst the rest is all fixed and glued. And the reason for the glue is to get this edge here as flat as possible. It's a fairly flimsy, and they can lap up. You don't want that, you want it nice and flat. So you glue it nice and flat, you nail it to keep it all down. If that is raised a little bit, which there will be in a bit, I'll show you one. Mate, yeah, look, actually that one is a little bit there, look, so I could do with another nail through there. Let's get it as flat as possible. And it all just becomes lovely. You won't get that flawless finish if you don't do the prep right. Any bump, I've said it before in other videos, any bump, any discrepancy, you won't get over it by fiberglassing over it, you'll just enhance it. Any bump, you go over it with fiberglass, it'll always be there, it'll just be more pronounced. So you need to sort of get this bit right, and then the rest will flow. Right then, just to show you this drip edge and the order that you need to do things. You put your fascia on, then you put your lath. Now we've just kept it, you just see that ever so slightly, the first one ever so slightly lower than the deck, which I'll show you why in a couple of seconds. And then the second one I should say, 10mm down, all the way across. Then under that you can put your guttering, so whichever way it's going, it's running down this way. So the far end you put tight to the bottom of that lath, and then just bring it down as you should. And then you put your guttering in, and the reason for that is all that's got to be done first. The reason for that is when you put your drip trim in, this is the offcut, we've cut it to length, so this is the offcut for it. That goes on like that. The reason why we've kept the first one down ever so slightly is so when we put that one on to the top of that lath, that is flush with the deck there. So when that's fiberglassed over, there's a seamless, well, it's seamless for the water to come down and get into our guttering. If you put it on top like that, then in my own shadow there, put it on top like that, you will have that bit of a ridge there, and that will always be there, and you'll have water on it and it'll just look crap and be rubbish. So it's always best, you can obviously plane this down to incorporate it, but it's OSB, and the one person who won't like that is your planer, especially the blades in it. So we do it like that just to eliminate that little issue. And then a bit of adhesive top and on the front, that then glues round like that, and away you go. And then that is it done, and then you just fiberglass it all in. You finish your trims off to that, we'll come down there, meet that corner, that one goes into there, and away we go.
All about the magic.
Right then, all our fillets are on, or our trims are on I should say. We're just patching up now because there's a bit more to it than just putting the trims on. You'll be left with little gaps like this, and there's an obvious one that you will encounter on the front. I'll show you that in a sec. But just to give you a tip of how to get around something like that, if you fiberglass that, and when you're dabbing it in with the brush, you will fiberglass into that gap and you'll see it. There's no cracks to paper over with this stuff, so you've got to fill it. I mean, you could fill it with foam, let it go off and then shape it. You could, I mean, in all honesty, you could, that bit I've put on there, I could have cut it better and brought it out to that. But in this instance, we're going to give a little tip, and we're going to use our good friend, the masking tape. Now, if Rich just puts this on, so good, isn't he? Getting it as flat as possible, like so. There you go, boom, and all that's done. Nothing structural. That's not what it's there for. The fiberglass will stick to that, no problem. It will just soak through and it'll saturate it. It'll be fine. And all you've done there is just bridge that gap, and you just give the fiberglass something to form around, and then you won't now fiberglass into that hole, and it'll look lovely, as it will when I show you when it's done in a second. Now, another way of doing it is when you've inevitably, when a curb trim meets a drip trim, you can lean over. You've got that hole there. Now all you got to do, get an offcut, cut a piece off it, offer it up, scribe round it, la-di-da-di-da, cut it off. So that then is the perfect shape of that, and then you'll just mitre glue it on in situ, and it'll go off instantly. And then you're good to fiberglass then. If you've gone over it slightly, you can just grind it back, sand it back, get it all as best as you possibly can. And there you go. So I'll do that. Mick is just doing his over there. Ta-da!
Different trim.
Different trim. And then we'll show the finished product.
Not just cold water.
Right, well that's it then. We are very nearly ready. We've rolled out our bandages, going over every joint, put them, we've labelled them, put them to one side. We've got all these out to size, torn them all off. Tear them, don't cut them with the scissors, because, let me just show you. As it comes off the roll, you'll have one edge that's frayed, like so, which is good, and you'll have one edge that's machine cut, that's bad. You want to fray those edges so that when you put the resin on and then you consolidate it, that will all just melt into one then. You'll probably see that seam if you don't fray that up. But we're going to do that in a second, and we'll show you the best way that we found how to do it. And that's why we don't cut it with scissors, for that exact reason. What we do is cut it with a handsaw, with the old handsaw, and it just frays it, and it's perfect. It's as good as that. So I'm going to roll these up now. No need to number these because they're all the same. And then we're going to run the handsaw down the edge to fray the edges. All that's done. Wear a mask while you're doing it is our advice to you. Yeah, and then we're going to go for it. I'm going to do a bit of detailing first, like a little mix up. Do that, and then we'll go for it. And I think what we will do is time lapse the main bit, get a bit of music on, because I've been talking for a while, and then we'll see where we are. And there we go. That's the fiberglassing sort of done. You saw from the time lapse. You wet the deck, you roll out your pre-cut and pre-edged, so to speak, fiberglass, and you wet on top of that. You just saturate it as most you can, as best you can, and then you consolidate it with a consolidator. And I managed to find that absolute bad boy. Look at that. beautiful. And you just break down that matting. You just break it down and you just get it as flat as you possibly can. But a top tip for the finishing, I know I'm in the shadow here, but is don't go too far up your trim. You don't want to go up and over, because you'll always see it, and you want to keep that as clean as possible. As I said earlier, it's pre-made. Put it on, paint it, it's done. Go over any fiberglass, you will see it. So that end, you don't want drips going down it, so keep an eye on them, wipe them off if you get them, which is why we paid special attention along the front, because that's going to see that from the customer's side, and obviously this side, what you can see from the neighbour's side. So to that, when you're coming up and you get bits like this, if I can get out my own light, is that better? Very tempting when you get that. Oh, there's a bit there that needs a bit of fiberglass, and you go up with a roller and then it all drips down there. You won't sand it off if it goes off. So don't do it. Go up to there, leave it like that, and once it's then gone off, come back. And just sand them back like that. It's 40 grit, that is. That's real horrible, tough stuff. Go for it, only lightly, but it will take it. Tart up all the edges, tart everything up, all your detail bits, and then we're going to go over it again, going this way.
So we're straight back at it this morning, ready to get ready for top coat. A bit of hard work going on, so I thought I'd get behind the camera instead.
Hello.
So what you can see here is we've started to cut all the extra, like Madam talked about yesterday, cutting the extra strands off rather than worrying about them, just cut them off when it's all dry and it gives a better finish. Just going around now with a sandpaper. Anything to add, Adam? Anything to add?
No, not really. This is your final chance to get your finish right, because all we're doing, the top coat is just essentially a coat of paint. That's not what it is, but you're not going over anything really. It's only going to go on what you've got here. So if you've got anything wrong here, it's just going to show up on there. So if you want the perfect finish to it, or as close as you can possibly get to it, this is your last chance to get it right. So in terms of, as you've just said, any strands sticking up, sand them off, go over the entire thing, give it a little bit of a key. Just go from, as you can see there, it's a bit noisy, so mind your ears. Well, in fact, I'll point to it. Where it is there, that hasn't been sanded. So there, it's just gone slight white to it. It's just gone, just took the top of it a little bit. Around there, and then that's basically it, and there you go. And and once you're happy, once everything looks as flawless as it possibly can be, you put your top coat on. And
give it a bit of a blower, give it a blow and a bit of a soft broom.
Got to be clean. Any bits that's on here, you're just going to paint over it or coat over it, and it's going to be there forever. So just get it as clean as possible. Try your best. And there you go. Just remember that it's a roof, and not everyone's going to be hanging out the window looking at it. But you know, as long as we're here now and we can be happy, yeah, that's nice, that is, and walk away, then it is all right, isn't it? It's going to be waterproof. It can't not be waterproof with what we've done to it. It's not watertight, granted, because we haven't done that yet. But the roof itself, it's had 2 coats of 450 gram matting. It's had how many kilos of? It's to do with weight. You see the. It's not in litres, it's done in weight.
Kilos.
So it's had 50 kilos of resin.
Wow, that's a lot, isn't it, when you think of weight.
It is, yeah, you know. So it's going to be waterproof, it's going to be fine.
And the top coat's resin based, it's not just a paint, is it? It's got resin as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, you mix it with the hardener, the same as you do with the resin. It does give it a slight waterproof quality to it, but it gives you the UV protection as well. I think the difference between this and top coat is, if you can imagine, underground pipe and black soil pipe, where the underground pipe isn't UV protected, so if you ever do use it on the outside, it'll start to bleach and it'll eventually start to break down over many, many years, don't get me wrong, whereas the black pipe is UV protected, as far as I know. That's the difference between the 2 pipes. So this is what we're doing, we're giving it UV protection, and that's it, really. There's that.
Let's get a top coat on. I think that was all right, wasn't it? It's all right. What do you think?
Excellent presented.
Do you think so? Thank you, mate. So I'll go and do a little bit of editing while you carry on doing the hard work. Is that what you're saying?
Never even mumbled or anything.
How was my hair?
I think it's best not talked about, I think.
All right.
So if you remember the footage from earlier on, that's on screen now, this is what was in the box. Now this is almost our virgin voyage, should we say. So bear with us, and we'd like some feedback on what you think of the new footage, or the new way of shooting footage. What you can see now is roof number 1, all finished. As you already know, the glass is already on it, and that is all complete. What you can see now is roof number 2, all complete, top coat done, or shall I say the first top coat, and the fence is all put back. And what you can see now is roof number 3, complete and watertight. Happy with that. There's still finishing touches to do, like flashings on the walls. We've got to put the fascia joint on this side, corner on that side, but a lot of all these sort of bits there will be picked up as and when we start to do cladding, etc. But we're really happy with that. This is obviously here is just temporary thing at the moment, and we already know these are going to be cut back to suit what cladding we have and how far off the wall it stands. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed our new footage, and we will see you on the next one.